Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another Film Threat Watch Party. I'm Loren Kling, your host. We had a few weeks off for the summer break, but we are back with an awesome movie called The Concessionaires Must Die. What is this watch party? What does it mean? Well, imagine that you were invited to a casual viewing party in a backyard, but it's virtual. So grab your drinks, grab your snacks, grab your food. You're going to stream the movie on your own device. So if you don't have the movie ready to go, rent it right now on Amazon Prime, Apple TV, Vudu, wherever you can stream movies. We'll start about 5:15. We'll just press play on our TVs or on our computers at the same time, and then follow along on the watch party. What's great is if you join us live, you can ask questions of the filmmakers. You can ask questions of the actors and the writers. And we've got a lot of Comic-Con geeks, if you will, here with us. So go ahead and ask your deepest, darkest questions, the things you've always wanted to know. Consider this your Hall H for 2021. I'm curious to find out how many of the panelists have been in Hall H, because that seems to mark the delineation between been there, done that, and wish I was there. That kind of thing. So we'll start the movie at about 5:15, have the watch party ready, and feel free to ask your questions. We'll have everybody on, and then we'll just have a casual, fun, good old time. So what is The Concessionaires Must Die? Well, it's about an independent movie theater that's on the precipice of going out of business, being replaced by the Googleplex. And so, does the movie theater survive? What happens to it? Of course, if you're living here in LA, we wondered what was going to happen with the ArcLight theaters and the Cinerama Dome. Kind of guaranteed that they'll reopen up, but who's going to buy those? Do we maybe need to have some kind of fundraiser online so we can just run it? It can be the Concessionaires Must Die branded Cinerama Dome. How much do we need? A few million? So the movie's directed and co-written by America Young. We've got John Keating. We've got Sam McCoy, who also wrote this. There are so many quick cutaways in here. I can't wait for us to find them to talk about ones we've missed. That'll be a good old time. As far as Film Threat goes, we've got our YouTube channel, and thank you so much for helping us to cross the 20,000 mark. I want to thank all 20,000 of you for doing that. Please, next time you're on YouTube, if you're on now, subscribe, like, and share our content with your family and friends. If you're on our Facebook Live, do whatever you can do there, but then jump on to our YouTube channel. If you didn't know, we have an award show called Award This 2021 that we held earlier this year. It was COVID safe. It was on the top of a parking structure in Orange County, California. It was really cool. If you want to see what it was all about, you can see the show on our YouTube channel. You can see trailers. You can see filmmaker interviews. Very cool. Also, Chris Gore, our very own Chris Gore, he hosts Film Threat Podcast Live, which are 15 to 25 minute one-on-one conversations with independent filmmakers. And you can also see that. There's more coming up. And if you want to know what's coming up with our watch parties through summer 2021, we've got Untitled Horror Movie coming up on July 30th. We have Dark State on August 6th. And stay tuned for more. All right. Now that I got all of that out of the way, why don't we bring on the director and one of the writers of The Concessionaires Must Die, ladies and gentlemen, America Young. How are you?
I'm great. How are you?
Thank you so much. So, of course, I'm checking out what's behind you. You've got some cool art that's kind of hard to see, but anything real that you really love back there you want to talk about?
Yeah, I mean, we've got a passion in this household for certain things. I actually just got this, which I'm really excited about.
All right, let's see what she's got. Thank you, Chris. Our very own Chris Gore. What? Wait a minute. Hold the phone.
Awesome.
Now, was that a QVC or Home Shopping Network?
This is actual one used for stunts from the show.
Wow. Boy, you know what? We could just do a watch party just on that.
I'm trying to learn how to fight with it because I think it's one of the coolest weapons ever.
Yeah, and I'm curious, do you happen to know the background as far as who designed that, or if it's based on any existing tools or anything like that?
I don't remember the names, but the guy who did design it was an actual martial artist, and he had studied a ton of different weapons to come up with this very intricate, very nimble weapon. And apparently when they first started using it, they didn't know how to actually use it in the proper way in the show. So they kind of just use it as a blunt instrument. But then as the show has evolved, they've learned actually what a cool and actually very effective weapon it is. So.
Wow. Yeah, that's cool. So now I think we should ask all of our other panelists to have at the ready something really cool that they're proud of.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. I'm going to show mine.
So. Okay.
I'm going to show mine. So I was a huge fan of the 70s TV show Emergency, and it's kind of hard to see because of the special blur I have. So that's good.
Oh, cool.
There we go. It was about LA County firefighters. So this is actually a Viewmaster. I have some Viewmaster reels. So, all right. That's about it. I can tell how excited you are, and by the lack of comment.
But I'm excited by your excitement.
Yes, and isn't that what makes things like Comic-Con so great, is that you don't have to know or be an expert in everything, but just to see the excitement on people's faces.
Watching people's faces light up, that faraway look they get in their eye, the grin they get in their face from the memory, that's what makes it. That's what makes it awesome.
Right. What's an early memory of you as far as movies or comics or just something that back in the day was considered nerdy or geeky?
Oh, like my whole life, I think. I grew up without a television. So most, if not all, my entertainment has come from books. And so even just novels that I was reading when no one else was reading them, or the Once and Future King when I'm reading that in school and everyone else is reading something, like it every step of the way, it's kind of, until I moved out here and kind of found the Comic-Con crowd, I was kind of just felt like I was just missing something. I was just kind of out of it. It's just really cool to have found this group, this community, and I miss it so much. It's been a really hard not having it.
Yeah, it is, and this is actually the virtual Comic-Con 2021 weekend, which marks the second year that we haven't been together in an overcrowded and smelly convention center with 100,000 of our fellow nerds, right?
I think it's more than 100,000. I think it's usually like 500,000. Like it's gotten pretty big. Oh wait, what's going on? So David Blue, who's in the green room, is posting as homeschooled series. All right. So now we know David Blue is promoting something else on our watch party. Thanks. But we'll get to him in a little bit. So I want to find out, where did the idea of this movie, The Concessionaires Must Die, spring from? Was it a story, a joke, an off comment, or something in your mind? Sam McCoy's brilliant mind.
Really?
Yeah. It's inspired, and you definitely should ask him about it more. It's inspired by him working in a small movie theater in the Midwest, and all the different people he came across, and his passion for movies and storytelling and comics. He's the one who wrote the initial script, and it inspired this whole movie to come together.
That's awesome. Well, why don't we bring on the writers? Let's bring on Sam, and also let's bring on John. How are you guys doing? John, just unmute for a second.
There we go.
Sam, what was that you held up?
So yeah, here's a piece of original art I have from Doc Shaner of a Green Lantern Batman comic that is just right above my writing desk. So it's a gorgeous piece of artwork. It's original art, and it's awesome. So
very awesome.
Well, now I have my thing I'm going to show. So this is This is a print, and I'm trying to get it so you don't get the glare on it. It is scenes from Raiders of the Lost Ark, done in the style of Popeye Thimble Theater newspaper comics, which is a perfect marriage of the movies and comics that are in the movies. But yeah, this is like it was made especially for me. Like I feel like when I saw that there were prints available, I felt like, oh, was just made for me. Who else would buy that? So that's one of my favorite things.
That is so awesome. Thank you for helping to bring kind of Comic-Con and our fun nerdy collections to the watch party. And if you guys are watching on the live watch party feed, share with us some of your favorite things you've ever had. You can't post a picture, but we'll certainly post up and then awe and gasp out of those amazing things. So Sam, America Said this sprang from your experience working in an independent theater. Talk about that.
Yeah, sure. So I'm from a little town in Nebraska. And I mean, one of our only main forms of entertainment in the town there was a movie theater. And I loved movies going from when I was a little kid. I mean, my mom would always say she remembers like me having a VHS tape of Ghostbusters and just when I was little, just rewinding it and just starting it again. And like my first vivid memory is not being able to go to the 1989 Batman movie with her. She took her godson, but she didn't take me. Which is I've been salty about that for many years still. So when I finally got kind of old enough, I go to anything that the theater had. It's owned by a lovely older couple that still run it to this day, Chuck and Julie Weishart, and eventually, which we actually would later screen the movie there. It actually had a 1-week run in my little hometown. And I finally started working there when I was in high school. Started right after I tore my ACL in football, and would do that for 3.5 years. And then when I went to college, there's an art house independent foreign film theater on the University of Nebraska that I also started working at. And so that's kind of my experiences. And they're very different crowds, very different audiences. And you just run the gamut. And it's very different ideologies between both of them too.
Yeah, that's amazing. So how did this team come together to write this movie?
Much like the Avengers.
Yeah. I mean, I first, I was just looking the other day. I first got my first email looking for a script in 2010 from April Wade and Zachy. Zachy was looking to produce something. And I was there was me and two roommates who had done a lot of stuff with April. They'd asked if any of us had scripts lying around. I kind of pitched a handful of ideas. This was the one that Zachy liked. And so we developed it for a few months before America came on.
Yeah.
Because, obviously April and America had worked on Girls, Girls, Girls for a while. Mm-hmm. And it was kind of wrapping up with some of that and looking for something else to do. And that's where then I came on, or that's when America came on, and that's where things started to take a little more shape. There's definitely a point where I realized when I was writing it, that I wasn't super happy with it. And then I just kind of made some drastic changes that I think were for the better, and which you see more in this script. And I wasn't sure if Zachy was going to like it or not. Early on, it was far more mumblecore, which was definitely the flavor of the day for sure at the time. And it wasn't very funny, in my opinion, and I always wanted it to be a little more funny. And I think we were able to get that tone.
Very cool. Well, if you're just joining us, this is the Film Threat Watch Party for the Concessionaires Must Die. We normally start the movie at about 5:15, but I want to make sure we get a few more minutes with the filmmakers and then get to introduce the cast. So maybe we'll start in another 5 or 10 minutes. It's very casual. Give yourself some time to stream the movie. If you haven't even rented it, go on to Amazon Prime or iTunes, have it ready to play on your TV, and then keep watching the watch party on your second device. And we've got all kinds of people in the chat. Thank you. Yes, Jennifer, there's definitely more of a chat on YouTube. It seems to go sometimes YouTube, sometimes Facebook. So welcome. And please, again, share with us some of your favorite things you've bought and you've purchased online or at Comic Cons, or things you have. John, tell me about your involvement in writing, what your experiences are in independent movies, going to see movies, falling asleep to movies, basically anything about movies.
Pretty much that, all of those. So America and I have been really good friends since about 2010. We did a pilot presentation together, and we just hit it off after that. And we worked together on a bunch of shorts that she had created and stuff that she had done. And we always looked for reasons to work together.
Yeah, we were always fun for each other.
Yeah, exactly. And she was interested in me playing the role of John, who's the projectionist at the theater. And then she asked if I would be willing to do a rewrite, like a pass of a rewrite with her on it. So her and I sat down for like 2 days, I think, and just kind of just took everything in the script and just reshaped some stuff. And I'm a stand-up comic. I was a touring comic for about 15 years. And so I had a lot of experience, punching up jokes and such. That was always one of my talents as a comedy writer. So we took it from there, and that was how I got involved. Even though I tried to fight America on casting me as John.
I wouldn't listen. I was like, you have to.
She would not take no for an answer. I was like, I think he should be older, and she was like, you're old.
You know what?
Yeah,
I actually.
Sam had written this gorgeous script filled with so much heart, and we had gone back and forth with notes and stuff. And he had mentioned, that wanting it to be a little funnier, and I agreed. And so John's just one of the funniest people I knew, and I knew that he had a skill with punching up jokes and story and heart as well. So it was just perfect to bring him on, and also because I had these machinations to bring him in on as the projectionist, whether he liked it or not. So
I gotta say, one of my favorite moments was John in behind the building when the kids come up, and he kind of talks about the idea of, I remember when I was a kid, and that kind of thing. It was really touching. So John, you did a fine job.
Right? He's perfect for the role.
Much.
He's perfect for it.
Thank you.
Now,
that was all from the heart too, because that's like, I know all three of us feel that way about movies and theaters and going to see the movies at a theater. It's a special thing.
Yeah, it is. Now, has anybody here gone to see a movie at a theater in the last few months since things have opened up?
Oh, yeah. Oh, wow.
Yeah, you have. Black Widow. Had to go see Black Widow.
Yeah.
So.
What did you see, Sam?
What have I seen?
Yeah.
Oh, gosh, I've seen quite a bit because in Nebraska they've been open for a while, and it doesn't. I tend to go to stuff at the indie theater. Well, the Ross that never closed that I used to work at, and it's an independent theater. No one's going half the time, anyways. So I just go anyways. What did I saw Zola.
Oh, was that good? That looks like it's great.
I enjoyed it quite a bit. It has some issues, but I enjoyed it. It's the biggest issue is just it's very much of that exact moment in time, and I had forgotten about some of the time of like 2015, even in the 6 years it's been since then, or whenever that Twitter thread. Of course, saw Black Widow. God, what was that? I just saw this really interesting video or film essay at the Ross, Color or All Light Everywhere, which was interesting, very much about surveillance. And there's some issues with the movie for sure, but it was done by one of the guys who did the 30 for 30 once. It was very interesting.
All right.
So yeah, cool stuff.
Awesome. All right. Well, let's bring on the other members of the cast who are patiently waiting with their exciting nerdy thing ready to go. So, America, I'm going to bring on David Blue. Will you introduce him and his how he's involved in the film? How's it going, David?
No, I refuse. I will not. This is David Blue. He is the lead of our film, Scott Frakes. He is also a co-producer on the film, and he is a geek extraordinaire.
Oh, I'll take it. I paid her to say all of those things.
Awesome. And I did notice his character's last name when wondering where that name came from.
Well, did you notice all the characters' last name? Scott Frakes, John Dorn.
Yeah. That's one. Yes. Yeah, definitely. Oh, all right. All right. Let's bring on Zachy. Hello.
Hi.
Hi, Zachy.
Hi, Zachy. Welcome. America, please introduce Zachy and her participation in the film.
Well, this wouldn't exist without Zachy. Zachy and Sam and April Wade were there at the very, very beginning before I was even involved. She and April and Sam were working on the script and developing it before I even got brought on. Zachy is our producer. She's also one of the leads of the movie. She plays Gabby, the theater owner who is struggling with what to do with it. And she is also a dear friend. It's been good. She's awesome. She's awesome.
I also paid her to say that.
Yeah. And she came in right today.
So are we saying that all the revenue from streaming and purchases of the movie have gone to paying America to say these nice things?
Yeah, we're still waiting on checks. We're still waiting to get paid at all for this.
All right. we have two more cast members. So Dave and Cosby, get ready for you to wax poetically about America. Let's start with Cosby.
Woohoo! My show and
Hi. Can y'all hear me?
We can hear you.
Oh, okay. Hello.
Yeah.
How you doing?
Good.
It's good
Welcome,
to see all
America.
my friends, guys. I haven't seen y'all in so long.
This is Cosby Siringi. He plays RJ, our character RJ, and he was a real find. We took a long time to find him. And when he came in, he just nailed it. And he was a referral of a friend, and we're so grateful that we found him because he's brilliant as the role. And he also couldn't be more different than the role he played in the movie. He's much cooler than the character he plays, but he very convincingly plays the character he plays.
Much feels a little much. That's
too much.
and somebody else who's quite different than the character they played, and I was paid to say that, is David Cooper. How are you, David?
I'm doing very well. And hold on a second. America is talented and amazing and a dynamite writer. Did I get it right?
Yeah, and all of everybody else's money is going to David Cooper.
Oh, thanks, guys. Thanks all of you. And thanks, Loren. I appreciate that intro.
Yeah, you're definitely welcome. And as I was talking before we started, the antagonist never really thinks they're a bad guy. I'm assuming, Dave, that you didn't approach the character as how is he an a-hole.
Yeah, I thought it was weird that we were talking about how the other people were the heroes and stuff. This is a tragic story about how I have my theater taken away from me and my dad betrays me. I look forward to the sequel.
Well, wonderful. Well, thank you, everyone. We're going to have, we might have some additional cast join us in the middle, but why don't we get started with the film? So get the movie ready to go on your TVs, on your VCRs, on your Laserdisc players. How much can I date myself with that? On your 3/4 Betamax machines.
I also want to say our casting director, Christina Schneider, is in the chat, as is our brilliant wardrobe designer, Jess Reed.
Thank you. All right.
Yeah.
So let's get ready to play. And I got to do this with two hands. 5,
Oh, God.
4. Oh, gosh.
Oh, sorry. Okay.
Ready.
Let me add the countdown. All right. We're going to start at 60, 59, 50. Are you ready, David?
I am, but I wanted to show my nerd thing.
Oh, boy. All right. Oh, yes. All right. We'll talk about in a second. Let's start this in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and go.
Play.
And you might want to turn your audio down because if you're wearing headphones, then you're not going to be able to hear our conversation. So we've got the Dauntless Studios graphic, and we'll check back in. Oh, we already have our first question of the day, VHS. Who would like to take this?
Hey, Steve. How's it going? Happy to see you.
Would anyone like to explain the
VHS
answer,
is?
an explanation to VHS?
It's a big cassette tape.
You used the exact same year as the thing that you're talking about. I love it so much.
Although, Cosby, I want to ask, because you're a musician, are you finding cassettes as coming back?
You know, I actually am looking for it because my parents are moving. And so I've been trying to get all my dad's old, tapes and everything to try, but I can't find them because I think my mom threw them all away. And so it's been kind of tough, but I've really been trying to get a tape player. I actually have a Discman. And so now I'm trying to find like the little tape player so I can go around old school with that, but I haven't been able to find one yet.
Got it. I know right off camera, I've got my dad's old hi-fi tape deck that I've been playing some of my old tapes, cassettes I made as a kid. So,
I
but
still
enough
have
about
my old ones.
Yeah. So, all right. So yes, cassettes are just a smaller version of the VHS. Good. If anyone has any other questions about things that make us feel old on the panel, please don't post those. Feel free to not post that.
Feel free to Google.
Feel free to Google. All right. So let's talk about this theater. Where was this theater located that you shot at?
This is the Ace Theater, downtown Los Angeles, which was just recently renovated when we shot it. And it was just so perfect for the Monarch Theater for our intro. And then we shot in the alley right behind it too.
Interesting. I've been to the Ace, but I've only seen it crowded and at night. So I really thought you were shooting somewhere like in central Northern California. That's funny.
Well, the rest of the movie is in the initial intro theater was downtown. The rest of the movie that takes place at the Monarch Theater, the heart of the movie, is in Fresno. And it's gorgeous. It's called the Warner Theater, Warner with an O-R. And it was built by the same people who built a bunch of gorgeous ornate theaters across the country, the Pantages Theater that we have here in Los Angeles. And it was just a phenomenal location. It was haunted, right, guys? Like that was our final, that's what we realized.
Oh, 100%. It was 100%.
Yeah. Yeah. But it was gorgeous, and it had a working piano, and they would have or organ, and they would have people come and play it for their movies, and it's truly phenomenal space.
And a really fun place to hang around in the basement dressing rooms when they're told that it's haunted. Now go hang out downstairs by yourself. It's pretty terrifying.
Well, that's the way the Comedy Store supposedly their basement was haunted.
Oh, yeah.
Really?
So
because it was built on an old mafia hangout.
Yeah. Have you seen the secret passages in the walls? There's secret passages in the walls where they would open up and dump the bodies.
What?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. There's bad energy in that club. Really
like if you bombed on stage.
Yeah.
Dump you.
And also to pass the cocaine, which was a big thing in the 80s. And apologies if my mom is watching this week. Yes. I've heard of cocaine. All right. Not speaking of cocaine. So were you guys filming during the day before they did evening programming? Were you doing overnight?
They didn't have regular programming. We did work around their programming, and their programming was very varied because it's such a gorgeous space. They did a lot of different things in the theater. So there were some screenings. There was one where our cast actually worked as concessionaires and ticket takers for the actual screening. There was a memorial service that happened while we were filming. There was a wedding rehearsal. I don't think we filmed during the actual wedding, did we guys? It was just the rehearsal, right?
It was a rehearsal.
No, I think it was the rehearsal. Yeah.
Yeah.
It was
also
definitely
that
filmed
live
during the funeral.
Yeah.
They played the live organ along to, I think it was Phantom of the Opera. Do you remember? Did anybody go to that?
That was
cool.
cool.
Lon Chaney. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, it was. And
oh wait, here I am, guys. Hold on. I'm on screen
God.
now. Hold on a second. okay, go ahead. You go. You can go.
And the theater is truly more gorgeous than you even see in the movie because it was so beautiful. We didn't think it would be believable that it would be shut down. So we actually couldn't show you the full extent of the beauty of the theater. So if you're ever in Fresno, definitely go check it out. It's gorgeous.
How does John look younger now?
I know. I don't understand.
Method. He's method. He's method.
I am. Yeah.
Oh my God. He's everywhere.
I'm everywhere.
He is. Zachy, as the theater owner in this film, did you channel your inner producer and, oh my God, we don't have any more money in your character?
I didn't have to channel anything. It was right on the surface.
Yeah, we kept leaping and hoping that the net would appear. And sometimes it did. And a lot of the times it didn't. And we just figured it out as we went. But yeah, there was a lot of that.
Got it. So there are a lot of cutaways. How many cutaways or film and TV references? Anybody do a full count? And has anybody created a full list of all of them?
We should.
No, but we always joke that if anyone were to play a drinking game while watching this film and have to drink every time there was a reference, they would be pretty drunk by like the third scene.
Challenge accepted.
If you're just joining us, you're watching Film Threat's drinking game. Concessionaires Must Die film cutaway. Every time there's a film cutaway, but please, there we go, David.
I'm playing. I don't know what you people are doing.
I thought a drinking game would be every time Dave enters or exits a scene where you can tell he's going mwahaha.
Yeah, that would
head.
also kill you.
Oh yeah,
that would kill you pretty quick.
Yeah, I feel like it should be mentioned that David Cooper, is currently wearing one of his wardrobe pieces.
I was just thinking that.
And fun fact, we shot this in 2014, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. But when we shot all of David's stuff, our brilliant costume designer, Jess Reeves, went out and bought the douchiest things that she could find. And coincidentally, it's all Donald Trump clothing line.
Yep. I still have the red tie on the back of it, and it says Donald Trump. And I've been in a bunch of commercials, and it's been used in 4 different commercials by people when they tell me to bring douchebag stuff. And whenever you go to one of those, a commercial wardrobe, they always tell you to bring all your stuff. They throw the rest of my clothes away because they're all old and out of fashion. But that damn tie, I mean, every time, 100%, it gets cast.
Ah, Jess, I love your little profile picture.
Oh yeah, let's bring that. Oh yeah, very
Pretty
cute.
cool.
You, David, I'm at the point that the last Starfighter joke. Do you ad lib that, right?
Yes, although I'm not there
I
yet.
love that.
How am I at a different time code?
Yeah,
I'm at 8:31.
Oh, I think I'm too far ahead.
Oh, I'm at 9.
I'm at 8:30.
All right, so why don't we do a
go ahead,
check-in? I'm at 9:08, so if you guys are watching, why don't we sync to 9:12, 9:13, 9:14, 9:15?
Done.
Okay.
I'm like 2 seconds behind, but close.
Yeah, and I have to say the Last Starfighter reference as one of my favorite movies as a kid really meant so much. And I got to meet Catherine Mary Stewart once, and I almost died.
Oh,
wow. As would I. My God.
Yeah.
That was a brilliant improv because Talia had messed up the line. And so she had
way to throw Talia under the bus.
Well, It's true, but it was
David
brilliant.
didn't work as hard as you think. Let me explain how.
No, it was actually brilliant, and I kind of feel like she did it on purpose because it was so in character
Yeah.
for her to get that reference wrong. I actually think she did that choice on purpose. She kept doing those things where she would make a choice that it was like, that's so perfect. Like it seemed like a mistake, but it wasn't. So because she's an improv actress also. So anyway, it's one of my favorite.
This is one of my favorite parts of the whole movie, all the random stuff, because that stuff was floating around the set all the time.
All the time.
That giant dong, I mean, that's mileage. And just all kinds of things happen with it.
And what's even crazier is that most of those were things that Sam specifically sent and said, these are things we have found in a theater. Mm-hmm. Like some of them
except for the literal the Harrison Ford death mask. That was found in the theater.
Yeah,
a lot of those things. I remember texting Sam going, "What's the weirdest stuff you found?" And he just sent me this list, and I was like, "You've got to be kidding me!" The lobsters, right? Weren't the lobsters something that was actually found?
Never an actual never lobsters, but I found plenty of like meat and such, which was always just weird to me. Like people had like gone to like a grocery store beforehand. And there was always a sequence that was in the script for a long time that we cut out because it was like deemed a little too like adult. That was 100% based in reality of a story where like it was very clear someone had masturbated in our bathroom and sprayed all over the walls, and so I like put myself in like a plastic suit to like go clean everything, and it was funny. And that was in scenes for a long time.
Wow.
Because it's just disgusting. But also we were going to do some more gags with it.
And also a little impressive.
Yeah.
That's a little like,
hey. Like you plan that. That doesn't just happen.
Absolutely.
You know that person is watching this right
now.
That's
a specific fetish.
That you have to put on for that kind of reason.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, man, I worked in a movie theater and there was some weird stuff, but that didn't happen. Good Lord.
Wait, hold on. At 36:15 of our watch party, Sam McCoy mentions the spraying of. Hold on.
Hi, Mom and Dad. I hope you're enjoying this.
Oh, they were on set. They heard worse.
Yeah, they did. That's true.
But you know what? Every film has these stories you hear about the locations, like talking about that this was haunted. What I'm curious about is, was there one thing where you guys had arguments about a fact that nobody could agree on, like a sci-fi fact, or the way you shot a cutaway, or something that appears in the film?
I don't know. I mean, go ahead, Zaki.
I don't think so.
No,
America was pretty much a dictator on set. I have to say that.
She
would scream at us and say, "I don't care about your process. Just say my words." And so really, we didn't have a lot of opportunity to argue.
I mean, not to get all like cheesy and dorky about it, but a lot of us were friends ahead of time, and if not, we became quick friends on set. And it didn't feel like we were making a movie on a set. It felt like a bunch of friends hanging out. So we were all kind of on the same page, I think, pretty much the whole time.
Yeah.
Right. But part of geekdom, though, is having the conversations and having the fun arguments about, favorite Star Trek universe, favorite, the most hated Star Wars movies, those kind of things. But it sounds like America had the final say, and no, this is the way this goes.
Yeah, I had
the snap.
Covered cattle prod, and anybody who argued with me, and they're all covered with their brands. You guys want to show your brands?
What was the brand? I'm assuming they were starships. That would have been my choice of brands.
Yeah, no, it's the Empire insignia.
Nice. I feel like the arguments kind of made their way into the script.
Yeah,
like from
that's
Sam.
true.
Sam already had them kind of pre-cooked in, and then stuff that we would kind of come up with,
The one thing I do want to point out, and I don't know if this answers your question or not, but that opening monologue where Scott is walking through the entire theater listening to the robot. so much time has passed since we filmed that. Actually, not that much time, but every single one of those have been remade.
Oh God, that's true. Oh my God.
Except for Small Wonder, every single one of those have been remade at this point.
That's insane.
That's amazing.
And one kind of thing with the kind of the discussions there, which kind of maybe got it a bit out of the system, is beforehand to help raise funds for this, we had done all the live streaming, and there was a lot of that going on there. That's how we were kind of engaging. Like people would take their own topic they were want to do, and that's how I met. That's definitely how I met David and stuff, and I think that's where I met John at. As we were doing those. And I know I was a dick to someone who was talking about the sport from Harry Potter, because Quidditch. There we go.
Yeah, that got heated.
It did get heated.
That's right. I forgot about that.
There may have been tears.
What was the argument? I think I
it
missed
could have
that.
been me. I might have been the one crying. I don't know. I don't remember quite.
What was the argument over? I don't remember that at all.
It was over. They were talking about it like it was a real sport, and I was making fun of them for it. So,
although there are Quidditch teams in Los Angeles. So.
I know, and that's why I was making fun of them for it.
Yeah,
because I'm a.
Why does my video keep doing that?
I don't know what's happening, David. What are you doing here?
I'm one of those actors. I got to load every once in a while. You got to give me a minute to load.
Wait, hold on. 40 minutes and 55 seconds.
Be true. He's AI.
David Blue mentions his load at 40 minutes.
Wow.
Yeah.
By the way, Sam, sorry you had to clean that up.
We found the restroom culprit.
No, I have gigabit internet. There's no reason. Sorry.
I feel like this conversation is deteriorating by the moment.
I mean, that's pretty par for the course for us, though.
Yeah, so one of our watchers mentions, America, you do have a black belt. You have done stunts, supervising and stunts. And so I don't think anybody would want to argue with you.
I mean, the truth of the matter is that I like good argument, especially about nerd stuff. I love getting into it about who would win in the death match. And I think John and David mentioned this. Like that's how a lot of that stuff ended up in the script, the stuff that we would talk about. And so a good argument I like. The one of the moments I'm most proud of in the whole movie is in the end credits when David is dressed in the Monarch Man costume, and we're like figuring out how he's going to stand like a superhero. That's one of my proudest stunt moments, is where I was able to.
I'll tell you something about American stunts. At the beginning in the vignettes, we were at Greg's place and we were all shooting our vignettes. So I had to be Charlie Chaplin, which was a lot of fun. And she's like, okay, so you're just going to go and then you're going to like hop over and leap over that wall. I'm like, what do you mean I'm going to leap over the wall? And so I had to literally learn to do this flip and everything. And she's telling me, do this. And so I finally did. And she's like, you can probably do stunts. I'm like, that's for you. I'm going to leave that alone. That's all you.
You did a pretty great job with it, Cosby.
No.
Wait, but Cosby, don't. Yeah, Cosby, don't you work with kids?
What about our history makes you think I could do that?
Exactly. Literally. What were you saying? I'm sorry.
Oh, but don't you work with kids? Aren't you like a camp instructor?
So I do a lot of stuff with kids, and a lot of it is very much, Dick Van Dyke-ish, where I'm pretending as if things are hurting and very character, but I'm not jumping over walls unless I have to. So, but hey, in this scene, there was a line that I said something about the bad guy saying that Derek sounds like Dalek. And that's actually my thing. So one of my friends, I think she's listening, but after this, I became a Whovian because I had no idea what that line meant. And then she made me watch it. And then I was like, oh, after the movie, I realized what that was. So I became a big nerd for
and John too, right? Like when we were doing our fundraising live stream, John is a legit nerd on his own right. He even writes his own comic book, online comic. But Doctor Who, that's when you discovered the Doctor, right?
Yeah, I never watched it. I mean, I knew it from as a kid, the Tom Baker Doctor Who as a kid on PBS, because I'm very, very old. And but I never watched the new one until you introduced me. I think we watched Blink and Girl in the Fireplace.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, this is fantastic. And then I went back and started watching all of them, and I'm a huge fan now. Huge fan.
Tenet, man, gateway drug.
Oh,
yeah, totally, right? Yeah. Especially those 2 episodes.
Mm-hmm.
Tenet and Moffat written episode like that was really great. So,
is this kid's legendary T-shirt product placement, or just happen to be wearing that?
Yeah, product placement, and that kid is Zachy's kid.
Oh, very nice.
Who is now? How tall is he now, Zachy?
He's 6'2" now.
Oh my god!
Yeah. And also 47 years old, which is pretty
So
he was so great.
The Rocket Fizz stuff was all product placement. And actually, I don't know where you guys are, but I'm like 20 minutes in, and the Rocket Fizz founder just walked through the back. He was in the background. And they gave us all this amazing product so that we could use it in the theater. And they also gave us, they helped fund the movie as well.
Awesome.
And he makes an appearance later on in the
he does.
Yeah.
All right. I have to ask a question. I noticed all the employees have "Hello, my name is" name tags. And it just seems like there's not a lot of money for uniforms for the people that work in this theater.
Nope.
And they're selling tickets outside, and they're reusing tickets. And I think wasn't Sam rejoining matching ticket numbers?
You paid a little too close.
That's really good.
We had a whole conversation about wardrobe and uniforms, and we thought it would be a lot more fun if they could wear their geek identity on their shirts. So whether it's a funding thing for the theater or not, I liked the idea that Scott led a rebellion to refuse to wear a uniform so that he could wear what he wants, and so everybody followed suit. And then with the name tags, what we like about them is they change throughout the movie to reflect where we are in the story. And so we wanted to kind of have some more flexibility where we could play with that. As for the tickets, nobody knew what they were doing with the tickets. They would ask me, "What am I doing with these tickets?" And I'd be like, "I don't know, just make something up." So right here where he's going through ticket numbers, he's doing such a good job of making it look like he's doing something specific.
He's a professional.
I was doing nothing.
We needed a ticket wrangler on set, as a consultant to come in.
I studied ticket moving for 3 years in college.
It paid off.
The advanced class, knocking and ticket tearing is one of the advanced classes.
I apologize if I got too nerdy about it, but I found those things charming, and glad to know there's really no answer to the ticket matching thing.
I love when people pay that close of attention, because we put a lot of thought into things. So we actually did. The tickets I own up. Wild West, but we did put a lot of thought into what they were wearing, why they were wearing the name tags, and all of that. So thank you for noticing.
I never had a uniform at any of the theaters I worked at. So
really,
nah.
Were they all independent theaters?
Yep.
Oh.
Yep.
This scene with Kelly.
Yeah.
One of my friends, he's now like a junior agent at CAA or something, but one day he was hanging out with her, and I was like, "What?" And he's like, "This girl says she knows you. Her name is Kelly." I said, "From the movie?" And so, like, they've been hanging out for months, and he's one of my good friends. He's actually going to be in my wedding, and I was like, "Oh, I had no idea." So
he was working at CAA.
Huh?
She was working there.
Yeah, they're like good friends now. So
that's a small world.
And I just want to give a shout out to our sound designers because there's moments that they found that made moments so much better that didn't even occur to me. So like the little stomach gurgle that happens when Cosby they found such incredible moments. It was Austin and Blake, and they made the movie even next level awesome. So really grateful for them.
Thanks for making me look good, guys.
Cosby, cheers. Let's raise a glass. You recently got engaged, huh?
I did.
So congratulations at Disney World.
At Disney World, yes.
Yes.
You do your voice.
Woo, woo, woo.
Yes, it was good times. Good times. I don't even, she's probably watching, but she's looking for flowers right now for the wedding. So.
Oh.
I don't know if they have them there, but the flower market in LA, we got amazingly cheap flowers, and they were gorgeous. You just go like 6 a.m. at the flower market, and you can find stunning flowers for nothing.
Can we talk about that brilliant comedic turn? Amazingly cheap. That was really well performed.
Cosby, if you need any slightly used red tickets, I know a production that's not using them anymore.
You're joking. I still have them because I can't let go of anything. Dave Cooper can attest to it, and Zachy, they were recently over, and I was like, please take stuff, because if you don't take it, I won't get rid of it.
I do like those. God. I like the poker chips you gave me.
Yeah.
Those were cool.
I'll have you know, America, the extra backpacks you had, they have been donated to a very good cause. I'll take a moment to plug. There's an organization in town called Big Sunday, and every fall they do a whole bunch of back-to-school backpacks for underprivileged youths. And America had, I think there were 3 or 4 backpacks that were actual set backpacks. So some lucky kids in the fall are going to be going back with backpacks from CMD. They won't even know the magic they have.
And they're going to open it and go, where are all these used tickets? I don't understand. Why are these in here? I don't get that.
When America does, when we go back to conventions, America, you can autograph the tickets.
Oh, yeah, and sell them for like $50 a pop.
Yes.
Let's fund our next movie. I'm in for it. I'll do it.
I've got a next gen comm badge that I've had, and I'm like, I don't want to give that away. So I think you should hold on to the tickets.
I think so too.
And
I do want to say, for the record, in case it's entered anyone's mind, I do not still have the dildo. That is not something I want to bring up
no.
at my house.
Yeah, I looked everywhere.
All I know is it just disappeared.
That was on loan from somebody else, and it has been returned to them. I just feel like, in case that's entered anyone's mind, I need to say for the record.
Did you get that back, Dave?
Yeah. I have it. It's I don't know. I loaned it to. Never mind. I'm not gonna.
Improv.
Every now and again, I don't say the thing that's about to come out of my mouth, and that time it worked. I didn't say it. And
Hi, Julia.
Oh,
hey, there's my fiance.
Oh, there she is! Congratulations!
Woo! I love about this scene, the David and Talia scene where he's the whole with the Gandalf quote and all that. One of my favorite moments in that scene is after she does the scream, like the primal scream thing. She has this little face that she makes after that's like kind of like, oh my god, I can't believe where that came from. It is one of my favorite moments in the whole movie.
Yeah,
like,
agreed.
Yeah.
She's so like self-impressed, like ooh.
Yeah. I just really Talia's so great.
Yeah, she really.
Since we threw her under the bus earlier, I figured we should probably.
Yeah, no, she did a great job.
That's what she gets for not being here. You know.
Yeah. No, she was phenomenal. She came on kind of at a last minute deal because of the way things happen and people's contracts and who you have to hire and don't hire and things falling apart. And so she came on like 3 days before we started shooting and just knocked it out of the park. I had worked with her before, so I knew that she was brilliant. I always teased her and said that she was like a female Jim Carrey. And she's so funny. And so I was so thrilled to get to that it all worked out that we got to hire her. Because she's so perfect for it. She's funny and snide with still being really likable, and relatable.
I gotta say, but for both you and for Christina and for everybody, like the people who I knew, I was just so looking forward to working with, and the people who I didn't know were all such a wonderfully pleasant surprise. Well, except for that Dove guy, but
Right.
other than that, everyone was such.
Whatever happened to him?
Right? Nothing. He just no, but like even in this scene, like I had never really met with or really worked with him or in this movie, and I was like, I just want to keep doing scenes with you. Everyone's just really great.
This guy was great. Yeah, this actor. What was his name?
Steven Anderson. He was an actor.
Yeah, he was wonderful.
He was my acting teacher for a while. And he's just a phenomenal teacher and a phenomenal actor. Yeah.
He was wonderful.
Yeah.
You want to talk about the shirt?
Yeah.
Do you want to talk about the shirt?
We did not tell David that we were doing this. So the idea behind Sarah's character, Kira, is that she's still finding herself. So every time you see her, she's wearing a shirt that reflects one of the other characters. So there's a moment where she's wearing a shirt where you can tell she's trying to look like Ashley. And there's times when she's trying to look like different characters throughout the thing. There's a moment where she's dressed like John because she doesn't know who she is yet. She's assuming the personality of the different characters around her. And the specific scene that has now passed, this is her assuming the personality and the character of Scott Frakes, aka David Blue, aka Stargate Universe.
Very meta.
And this is the outfit that David wore for every episode. Was it every episode? Yeah. And we surprised David. He didn't know we were cooking it up, and so he showed up on set and was like, "What, David?"
It was like sleepaway camp because we were all there living in Fresno for a while shooting this. It just felt like we were at camp for a while. It's funny.
Yeah, it was.
And everything was at, I mean, other than the hotel, like everything was at that theater.
Mm-hmm.
The
Wet Hot American movie.
Yeah, it was great.
We had a couple of additional pickup days down in Los Angeles, but the bulk of the movie took place at the theater. And when people weren't shooting or scheduled to shoot, they would come hang out. And it was so much fun. And the theater was gorgeous. It was so huge, and you could just spread out. Yeah.
And we have to give a shout out to Fresno. That city.
Oh, Fresno, yeah.
That city embraced us, like nobody's business. They put us on the local news. People would show up to volunteer. I mean, they really stepped up, and it was so fun to be there to shoot in an area that they were so excited to have us.
Yeah. Yeah, our line producer, John Hollis, is from there, and Ryan Gilmore, and they were able to...
Jesse Carrillo was from there.
Jesse was there from there too. And Joaquin, our first AD, who was just phenomenal, and we're still in touch. We had such a great group of people that complemented our team that were all local. I mean, we couldn't have done it without them.
Contrast doing if you shoot anything here in LA, everybody knows the score, and if anything you get, it's almost dismissed when you're shooting. You're in the neighborhood. You're the guy who's blocking traffic or screwing something up, for, getting people to school. But everywhere, like if you would go to any of the restaurants in Fresno afterwards, they would ask, like, "Are you working on the movie or something?" And it was immediately like you got to feel like, "Oh, I'm a huge star in Fresno right now." It was very sweet. They were very embracing.
Yeah, it was nice.
Well, not to toot Dove Cooper's horn, but you've worked with Clint Eastwood, Gary Sinise, and Tiger Woods, and you make a point of saying you think you're the only person to have ever done so.
I think it's the only thing I could find that was unique about me. I was like, I bet nobody can put that sandwich together. I mean, that was a few years ago, so who knows? By now, by the time he's done, Clint Eastwood will have worked with every single person on the planet. So eventually he'll catch up, and he'll work with those two guys.
And your collars are popped up in every scene?
Yeah, I can still do it. It's still there.
There's a moment where it's down when his dad comes in, and then when his dad leaves, he re-pops.
That's amazing.
It was a very specific character choice.
It's like a dog when their ears are all up, and then somebody comes by and they put it down. It was very deep. I did a lot of character work.
Yeah.
There it is. Yep.
Yeah.
Collar just went up and down.
Oh.
Mm-hmm.
Also, Dan Lauria is a little intimidating in real life as well, so it wasn't hard to do that. Like, I always thought of him as just he was the dad from Wonder Years to me and probably most people, but he has a very he just has so much more gravitas in person.
He's got so much presence.
Yeah, I was definitely not expecting that, so it wasn't hard to pretend like I was scared.
He was so cool.
He was
phenomenal.
Christina.
Yeah, that's our casting director, Christina.
Thanks, Christina.
Rather than a rando, it's somebody you know very well.
Yeah, very well. She's wonderful.
How did
More
you
ticket
find
work?
Dan? Where did that casting come about?
He was a friend. I've known him for a few years, and I just love working with him every chance I can get. And he was just so perfect for this. And I remember composing the email to ask him to do this, and it took me 2-3 hours to compose it to make it perfect because I was so nervous about asking him to do it. And then he responded within 3 minutes. Yeah, for you, anything. And then
Aww.
I still have it. I saved it. He was so happy.
He's so cool.
And he was a trooper because one of the shoots was overnight, and he was
Yeah.
exhausted, and he
Yeah.
he was filming stuff at like 4:00 in the morning after having been
In
up.
Ventura, the
Yeah.
multiplex. So here's some movie magic for you. Fresno Theater, the Warner Theater is, the Monarch, and the Fisk Theater across the street is in Ventura. So not across the street. And so when we shot those things, he drove up to Ventura. We shot overnight, and just
It
went
was
down.
Super Bowl weekend too.
It was the day the
Yeah.
Seahawks
Yeah, I
won.
remember that. Yeah.
Oh wow.
Yep.
Yeah, so that was a working multiplex theater, so we can only shoot during the night.
Mhm.
So
It
it
was a
wasn't
long
the
night.
theater, it wasn't the multiplex in Ventura that converted to a church. This was still an operating, because I grew up out in that area. This was still a theater
It was
multiplex.
brand new. They had
Yeah.
just opened.
Oh, wow, a new one.
Yeah. So it was just so perfect. Zaki found both our locations, which is phenomenal. Because that was the biggest thing when they first brought me the script is I was like, I love it. How the hell are we going to make it? These are not easy locations. And when we looked at the old theaters down here in Los Angeles, there's tons. There's a whole theater road in downtown LA of these gorgeous old theaters, Ace Theater being one of them. They used to be the Mary Pickford Theater. They wanted $10,000 to $20,000 a day to shoot there.
wow.
And there was just no way we could afford it. And so then Zaki got her list of every theater within a 4-hour radius and just started calling.
No, I called every movie theater in California.
In California.
Oh my goodness.
Wow.
One thing about this scene, I wanted to give a shout out to Eaton Mirsky, who let us use American Splendor in that. He wrote the song American Splendor for the movie, and he let us use that in this. He's a friend of mine, so yeah, that was wonderful. That was a nice surprise because I didn't know it was in there until I saw the movie at the Palm Springs Film Festival. So
Oh, you didn't know ahead of time?
I had no idea. No. So it just
Aw.
came in at the beginning of that scene, and I was like, "Oh, amazing!" And I love
Who's
that
this
movie so
sexy
much.
actor here?
He's
Right
so
here?
talented. So that's my dad. And that's my mom's best friend, Helen.
Oh yeah, your mom was not about it.
No,
She wanted to-
Not having it.
not having it. And we had 2 actors who kind of bailed on us at the last minute. And I was like, Dad, you're up. And my mom and my dad happened to be on set, and Helen just happened to be visiting that day. And they did such a good job. One of my favorite outtakes, which unfortunately we weren't rolling on because it was rehearsal, is when my dad turned to her and called her a slut. In the middle of rehearsal, like, you dirty slut or something. Because Helen's husband had told my dad to do that. And my dad was like, okay, sure. That sounds like a good idea. Yeah, it was great. I'm really happy that they're in it. And I love this montage. I love this montage of all our friends who showed up to make our movie great,
All the cameos.
all the cameos. So the guys who were making fun of Rocket Fizz, those are the owners,
Robert Powell.
Robert Powell, that's right. And then there's it was just fun. We just had like this procession of
Toms
of people coming with Tracy Toms and Beth Grant and Michael Schifo, and like they had just showed up and they improvised some horrible customer stuff, and it was really fun. It was really special.
There was a question on what I thought was the worst sequel. I'm going to say Mortal Kombat Annihilation.
There we go. Oh yeah, that's yeah.
Best sequel: Concessionaires Never Say Bye.
Nice.
I check my schedule. I'm available.
I had started working on an outline last fall just for fun. And it was
For a sequel.
For a sequel, yeah. It was Concessionaires Move On.
Oh.
Well, it was
Damn.
it was going to deal with the pandemic, just like theaters shutting down and stuff.
Oh. I thought it was like Cocoon, and we're all like about to die.
The return, yeah.
They're gonna the ship's coming. I'll be on the ship because I'm already dead. So yeah.
Why
Yeah,
wasn't Cocoon 2 in that list of worst sequels
The
ever?
return.
How dare you?
How very good.
The movie changed my life.
One day I had to go back to LA when we were in Fresno. It was the one day that I had off, but I didn't even. And so when I did, we went and filmed something, or I went to go film something in Beverly Hills. It was a pilot presentation. And there's a new show on Netflix called Ginny and Georgia or something like that. Some show about a girl and her daughter. It's like a new kind of Gilmore Girls or whatever. And the main girl from that was in that pilot presentation with me when I was leaving for this. So I was like, oh, I wouldn't. Yeah, good times.
Didn't you had to leave? Didn't you?
I did.
To go down to film it and then come back up. Yeah. That's
Yep.
right.
Within 24 hours, it was a lot of fun and a lot of car time.
Because there's a scene when everyone's talking to you and you're not there.
Yeah, there's a scene when
That's right.
David throws it's before this, that's what reminded me, the silly string. And I'm off of screen, that's why, because I was in Beverly Hills.
And that's in the outtakes. We have that.
And I can't throw that far.
We have it in the outtakes. Also, the fanny pack guy, Sean Parker, is absolutely hilarious. There was so much that he improvised that we couldn't even put in the outtakes in the end, because he was just unbelievably funny. And he's wearing a shirt that's from Ashley's show from when she was a teenage star, Ashley's World. And
I still want that shirt.
Yeah, and he was based on someone somewhat real, right? Don't use names.
100%.
Yeah.
And I have had to encounter that gentleman through the job I do now with mental health, and it's he's kind of a sad story. So yeah.
Well, Sean is not. So
yeah, Sean's wonderful.
Sean is brilliant, and hire him for your movies. And speaking of brilliance, these two sidekicks, Michael Seeloff and Chris Sheets, they like clicked instantly with each other. And I would always just see them out of the corner of my eye whispering to each other about something that they had planned for the next take. And a lot of the stuff that they do was stuff that was completely unplanned. Like there's one moment where Michael pulls Chris and his shoe falls off. I mean, 100% planned. Like, and there's all these random little moments that they just kind of
even like the forgetting the tribble on the
the dropping of the tribble. I mean, there's just so many different things that they and Roddenberry came on as a sponsor, so everything that you see on screen that's Roddenberry, that's Nerdist, Rock of Fizz. So we have a lot of everything that's on screen. We have the rights to use.
Yeah.
But it was really important for us to get some actual geek stuff on screen, because that's the
Goon. I think you have that comic.
The Goon by Eric Howell. I love that comic. I don't know if you guys have read it, but I love that comic. So I was so thrilled to get to have that on
I'm sorry to interrupt. This scene, I don't know if you guys are seeing the one with David and John right now. This is one of those things I love about the theater itself, where you can't make this kind of location. Just that room is so cool. And I wasn't in a lot of the scenes that were in the movie theater. I wasn't in them, but because we had the run of the plays, just being able to walk around and look at this stuff and be like
100%.
in that historical
Yeah.
place was so cool.
And
I
John
haven't seen
trained
so-
for a month on these projectors in order to
shows.
know he was fixing.
Yeah, you can see. I had 3 weeks alone on just rag work. So
It's
which
just
is
like
not
Blue
easy.
had his ticket ripping stuff, and you guys put the work in.
It was literally there's nothing in that whatever I'm fixing. It's an empty casing,
Yeah.
and but I love a little business.
It really does.
I love a little business in a scene. Give me a little business. I love it. When
Thank
Zachy
you,
walks
JD
in, I'm
Smith.
in there. I'm fiddling with some like gear thing. I have no idea what it was. I don't even think the tool I had was appropriate. Love a little business. Give it to me.
Can you hand me a screwdriver? I'm gonna do nothing with
Right.
it.
No,
There's not even a screw on it. It's fine.
it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. I love it.
Okay, so here's the throw to Cosby, who wasn't there.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yep.
And everyone taking off their name tags right here was covering a continuity error because we had shot another scene where she didn't have her name tag, and we were shooting this, and we went, "Oh shit, she didn't have her name tag." So we're like, "Quick, let's come up with something to justify the continuity."
How did you catch that? Did you go back and look, or
No, we just had a phenomenal scripty. I mean, Sam really did a really good.
Sam was on
It's
it.
wonderful.
She was on it, and so when we showed up for that day, she goes, I don't think she had it. And so we went back and checked, and then we were like, all right, well, we're going to go ahead and say that they're going to take off their name tags because they wouldn't want to be able to be reported. They wouldn't want their names on their name tag, so they wouldn't get reported for what
Wow.
you wanted to do. So that's how we justified that moment to cover that continuity error. So thank you,
And-
Sam.
This is where John asked for more money.
And all of a sudden, my part, they're just like, okay, you're welcome. And I was like, whoa. Look,
Tom, we value you. We value you, buddy. We value
Yeah.
you. The check's
Fine,
out.
I also
I'm
remember
Everybody.
the silly string fight. You initially had it laid out pretty elaborate, like us sneaking up on our bellies and all this
Yeah.
stuff.
Oh,
And then
yeah.
did we even film any of that? I don't even think we even filmed any of that.
No, and we didn't end up filming a lot of it. And originally, as written, it was actually with squirt guns. But then,
Right, yeah. Okay.
but then there had been that shooting in the theater in Colorado,
Yeah,
and,
that was
and
it, that was
we were like, we got to make this as goofy as possible, not scary.
Mhm.
So we changed it to silly string, and we tried to make it even sillier than it already had been written. It was really funny the way it's written, but we had to.
And also too, all those exterior shots of the theater, the Monarch, the graphics. It was Zachy's husband, right?
Oh yeah, changing the sign, fake.
All in post, like to make it say Monarch, to have the sign.
He did it for the trailer, and then Fake Studios that did all our VFX.
Oh, okay, cool. Okay, great. Yeah.
Yeah, Fake Studios, Real by Fake, phenomenal. And they changed all the signs to say Monarch Theater because it said Warner,
Yeah.
and then they also added in the different screenings of the different movies that were
Yeah, it just
around
looks
there.
so amazing. It's seamless. You can't even tell.
Yeah.
It's
No, they do a great job. And each
Oh.
movie we picked was very specific also for the day that we were doing it. The General became John Dorn's favorite movie because it's a public domain movie.
And I do really like it. It's really good.
It's a phenomenal feat of physical prowess, but also it's public domain, so that's why it's
Yeah. I would have been fine with Charade too, because that's also public
Yeah.
domain. I love that movie.
But you can't actually show anybody. We went down this whole road about public
Right.
domain. So the movie's public domain, but there's still the life rights, and the person has to have been dead for 75 years before the
Right,
life
yeah,
rights
yeah.
fall into public domain. So that's why when you look at the movie, the General on screen, you only see the train. Because the train doesn't have an estate to come after us.
No.
And the train had been dead for 75 years.
Yeah, the train.
That train was a hack, first of all.
yeah.
You can find that train alive and well in Griffith Park in LA. Their train lawyer will be calling your actor lawyer in a matter of minutes.
He works at Travel
Oh,
Town on
the
the
cold
weekends.
water.
Here's Sam's Tim Daly reference coming up. He snuck in his love of wings.
Mm.
I I have been starstruck very little in my life, but one time at a comic convention, Tim Daly came up and peed next to me, and that's like the most starstruck I've ever been in my life.
Were you
in the bathroom or just like in the middle of the convention?
It was just in this middle of this convention, and it was
At a booth?
Yeah.
Did you peek? Did you sneak a peek?
No, I didn't. I didn't.
Little known fact: if you're on wings, you can pee anywhere.
Yeah.
That is, yeah.
It's in your
Tony
contract.
Shalhoub is unstoppable.
Yeah.
I think it was unexpected.
Yeah,
More
totally.
than anything.
Sam, I totally get it. I was at Comic-Con a few years ago. H. John Benjamin and I were at the sink next to each other. He's Bob from Bob's Burger. And just looking over and to say, hello, great panel you just had. He did not look happy to be there or to be spoken to. So kids, don't ever address your heroes in the bathroom.
Oh,
Yeah.
Do.
That seems like good advice, life.
Well, actually, if
Life advice.
anybody wants to know, there are a few exceptions. John Keating wants everyone to come up and talk to him. Stall, urinal.
Getting as
shove it,
closely
just-
as possible.
Whatever you need me to sign, stick it under the stall. I'll
He's
get
a real
right
face
to it.
talker. He really likes it.
Yeah.
John
Yeah.
John prefers the bathroom. Yeah.
Yeah, he
Yes,
prefers it.
I
In fact,
prefer.
wait till he goes to the
I-
bathroom before you approach him.
I will hold my signings. I do. I have my booth set up.
Good to see you here again, John.
It's Amber.
All right.
Hi, Amber.
John's better half.
I think the only
My
time I've
much
ever been
better half,
starstruck is when I met Ben from Ben and Jerry's Ice Cream.
Oh yeah.
That ice cream has gotten me through so many heartbreaks. But like meeting him triggered such an emotional response I wasn't expecting.
How did you meet one of Ben and Jerry?
It was at a random party. It was a political fundraising party, and somebody was like, "This is Ben." And I was like, "Hi, Ben. Nice to meet you." And he said, Ben and Jerry's," and then that's when the word stopped coming.
Oh, so he identified himself for
Well,
you,
somebody
so
else
that-
did. Somebody was like, "Oh, this is Ben from Ben and Jerry's." Like they
I see.
he was very cool about it. I was not.
Yeah, I would think he gets that intro often. Ben of Ben and Jerry's.
I feel like I would legally change my name to that.
Oh,
I love this.
scene.
I love this
Yeah.
sequence. This is
That's Neil Grayson. He's a friend of David Blues and became a friend of mine after the shooting. And then there's David. Oh, do you want to talk about the Matrix? David?
What do you mean?
Were you breaking out of the goo?
Oh, were you guys tried to drown me?
Yeah. Unsuccessfully, unfortunately.
They're like, hey, we're going to set this up. Go ahead and get in that tub surrounded by electrical equipment. And get in there and wait until we say action. So I get under the water, hold my breath, and they waited about 300 minutes. And I died.
There's the man.
I'm a ghost.
You're still in the goo. That's what the green is.
Now I love this CGI Stan Lee. He looks so real.
Aw.
yeah.
Yeah, he does.
So, yeah, but remind us, you shot this before he passed, and so what was the experience like to have him on set?
Amazing. Yeah, he was so much fun. He was a pleasure to work with. He took direction phenomenally, and one of my favorite stories is that when we were shooting it, he was like, "This is my first movie." I do a horrible impression, so please don't judge me. And I said, "Oh, Stan," because this is '92 at this point. I said, "You've done hundreds of movies, Stan." And he goes, "No, this is my first speaking role in a movie where I am playing a character." And
Wow.
he's done a lot of voiceover stuff, but every other major speaking role he's had, from Mallrats to, it's either a cameo where he's the librarian or the bus driver, or he's himself. In Mallrats, he's himself. And so that was a pretty cool, realization. But he was a pleasure, right, Zaki?
He was amazing. He's exactly what you think he is.
Yeah.
Just the sweetest, nicest, like, gosh.
So charming. Yeah. So charming, so
And he
gracious.
was wonderful too. Like his performance was wonderful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I used to at Comic-Con, I had emceed a bunch of different events for years, and Stan was brought in one time after it was like a Spider-Man video game or something like that. So he was brought in for a meet and greet on it. And he was exactly the same he had a horde of, I don't know, 300, 400 people all waiting there. And you know how in Comic-Con, it's almost like, it's like somebody gets cut in the water and everybody is sharks. Like everybody gravitates wherever they think that celebrity is at. And here he is. I mean, he was well into his 80s at the time that we did this, and he handled it with such grace, and he seemed to have such genuine appreciation for it. And I had never thought of it before. I had been to Comic-Con a bunch of times at that point, but what is it like for Stan Lee to walk through Comic-Con? I mean, he just walks through and he's like, yeah, this is all me. This is pretty much me. I did all this. But there wasn't even a hint of that with him. He was just so gracious and deflective, and I mean, maybe it was a practice response, but he, even in that element, he just seemed like the warmest, nicest guy there could be.
Yeah, he's pretty special.
How did you guys get him to be in the film? Like, how did the approach go?
Well, I had hosted a weekly comic book show for him on his YouTube channel, so I was familiar with his company and his people, and I became friends with Yuko Kobayashi, who is a co-producer on the film, and so we were able to ask him to be part of it. And then when he watched it back, he agreed to put his name on it.
Oh wow, that's cool. So he was going to be in the movie, and then he separately agreed to add his name for kind of like the punch on it.
For the extra kick, yeah. And I love we filmed an introduction for the trailer. And I love it so much because he's like, you'll notice that the whole movie comes alive when I'm on screen.
Yes.
And it's like, yeah, it's true. It's right. Yeah.
Is the one collar pop thing Cosby's choice or Jess's choice or your choice, America?
I have no idea.
Do you remember?
I don't remember.
I feel like that was you, Cosby.
Maybe. I wanted to be David Cooper.
Don't we all?
I feel like that was you. That was you being awkward. That was the way you walked the right way with your arms like as stiff as possible.
Who is this sexy man in a suit?
Oh, that sexy man. The man in black.
Mm-hmm.
That is he's working on a video game, but hopefully he'll be back in time to get to jump on the stream with us.
I have a friend who this is her first time watching and just messaged me, was that a Bill and Ted quote? I told them a lot of quotes.
Yeah.
This is
I
definitely
feel like
has a
the answer.
rewatch. Oh, go ahead.
Oh no, I was gonna say I feel like the answer to any question like that is probably.
In the before times when we shot it.
Yes. But what were you gonna say, Lauren? Sorry.
There's the pink shirt.
Oh,
Pink shirt.
Nice.
yeah. Oh, there. Oh, got it.
How is it still in such good condition?
Me or the shirt? I've been preserved very just indoors. I just got this shirt back from America a couple weeks ago. It was like a very strange, going through a very strange time machine, seeing all those shirts again, including this one. And I have another one. It's right nearby, but it has buttons on it, and I can't do buttons. It's too much work.
That's what Jess was for. She was.
Oh my god.
That's pre-2020. Buttons are so pre-2020.
Yeah, I mean, come on.
So are pants.
Hard pants. Hard pants.
Wait, you guys are wearing pants?
Are we all gonna take turns panning down now?
I like the cat visiting you, Zachy.
Thank you. This is Sunny. He's a little bit of an asshole.
Oh, so he's a cat.
Yeah. So.
Yes, but he's more of an asshole than most cats.
He seems.
But cats never think they're assholes, just like
They think
antagonists
they're
never
the
think
heroes
they're.
of their own story.
Yeah.
That cat is a
Yeah.
hero. That cat is a hero.
So that poster, I don't know if you can see it. It was in the lower left corner. That was a poster, the last thing that I shot with Talia before this. And it was a short film called Fairly Criminal. We just pulled in all of the things we already had. It's like, we need a poster that we can clear on camera. All right, this poster's from our own movies. Let's go.
Pants are leg prisons. Never really thought of it that way.
A shout out to our production designer, Nick. Because when we came in, the lobby, that entire wall behind the cash register was completely mirrored. And George, our DP, who's phenomenal, who I haven't mentioned yet, but we should because he's awesome, walks in and goes, "There's no way to shoot here without shooting myself." Because he hadn't had a chance to scout it because we were, kind of flying by the seat of our pants. And so Nick thought on the fly and came up with that whole backing with the writing and all the different things that are on the menu, and just so we could have a solid background to shoot up against.
Amazing.
Now, this is one of the longer cutaways. Usually your cutaways are really fast. How long does it take on average to shoot one of those cutaways that we only see for maybe 2 or 3 seconds?
The actual shooting of it is, pretty much what you see on camera, but the prep of it took much longer because with these cutaways, we have to find the outfits that match what we were actually in. We have to set it up so that we can, cheat it. And then, in this particular case with the Braveheart, there's VFX we added in the clouds behind, so you wouldn't see the 101 freeway. So the actual time that goes into just a couple of seconds is quite a lot.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Yeah.
Like we spent like a whole weekend filming a good chunk of them.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mine and a lot of David's and Talia's and
we shot all of those here in Los Angeles. That was its own unit. And it was at Greg Aronowitz's barnyard. And he does a lot of production design and it's phenomenal. And he
it
just
was a year later, right?
Almost a year later. Yeah.
Yeah,
because I remember shooting that, and I had to do that whole monologue, and it had been a year. I was like, I don't remember this at all, and having to go back and look at it and see. It was so interesting to go back and try to like revisit and unearth it again.
Yeah, they say that you can do things good, fast, and cheap. Yeah, good, fast, and cheap, but you can only pick two. And we wanted it to be good, and it had to be cheap, so it took a very long time.
Right.
Jennifer wants to know if that Braveheart scene, if there was much improv or was it pretty scripted out?
Go
ahead, America.
It was scripted, but you still improv'd quite like all the good stuff. I remember that, right?
I remember that's what I did for the audition. Like the final monologue, not the Braveheart part, but what the monologue was, when it turned into the Braveheart bit, was the live streamed audition. And it was the strangest thing to then do that monologue and then be able to look back and see what complete strangers were typing about my audition as I auditioned, which I know people are doing in every audition we go to anyway, but to see it right there in front of you, like, oh, wow, that person really didn't care for what I did. Or that they loved it. It was gangbusters. The important people seemed to like it. And then the Braveheart stuff, I just remember doing the whole monologue up again, and then America saying, now just do weird stuff, and telling me to imagine that there were all these things behind me, like do Scottish noises and things. I don't know what's and I had to say, was it slan or something like that a lot, but I don't think any of that made it into the movie. There was just a lot of like, look over here, now look over there, now look down here, look up here. And that was it. And I wasn't wearing much clothes either. I think it was just like a scarf.
Yeah.
And then
a bunch of belts.
Yeah, like there's a lot of bits that end up showing.
Yeah, you couldn't move because it kept falling apart. Yeah, because replicating that on the budget we had, like everything that you see in those vignettes, we knew exactly what the frame was we were going to do, and we just shot for that. So John's Jedi robes, they cut off at the like mid thigh.
Yeah, about that. Yeah.
Yeah.
If that,
joined
if that. They
Yeah.
might have been belly shirts. I don't know. We were pretty close. We were pretty close, and that was actually filmed in Greg's living room. And I kept hitting his ceiling with the.
And there was a big Jabba the Hutt right behind you, right?
Yeah.
I mean, and to talk about what Dave had mentioned is we live streamed most of pre-production. So we live streamed the auditions.
Mhm.
And our very brave
Oh, wow.
actors came into audition. It was all live streamed, and everyone saw the auditions.
I never saw mine.
Yeah, which is a whole other level of terror, I would assume.
We had already done a read through though, and I know me and Zachy in America had already decided. Dave beforehand, he had done the read through, and we were kind of decided already at that point. But we were doing it partially for show.
But I want to
For him, but the other roles weren't.
Yeah.
I also want to point out that when we did this, live stream was not a thing yet.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's true.
Like it's totally ubiquitous today, right?
Yeah.
And it's just a part of our lexicon. But it was a new thing, and so
April was breaking ground with the stuff she was doing on live stream. April Wade, one of our producers, she was breaking ground. She was really, the things that she was coming up with and the story she was telling via live stream was truly brilliant. So Christina just left a comment about like her having to explain this to the agents and managers was like, nobody knew what she was talking about. Go ahead, Zachy.
Yeah, and we also, we live streamed when we were shooting. We didn't want to give away the plot, but we had people tuning in from all over the world. We had people, from Europe, just watching what we're doing, and it was an opportunity for people to see what an indie production looks like. Behind the scenes. And I think we were one of the first people I don't know if other people have done it since, but we were definitely the first.
Yeah.
We were doing things where the technology were literally like going out of business, as we would have to be switching services because some of them, because we were doing ones on like Stick'em for a while that went under, so we went to a different one. We went to Tiny Chat. We went to and it was just kind of all over the place because it was kind of the Wild West for kind of streaming things. I mean, obviously now you do it on Twitch. That's a very stable platform right now. But at that time, there was not that kind of stable platform.
And that was Denise and Juan were the ones who were manning that for us. If you go over to our YouTube channel, there's a bunch of interviews that they produced while we were on set, talking to the different cast and crew about a bunch of behind the scenes stuff. And you could see more of the theater too, and how vast and gorgeous it was.
Got it. Now, David, go ahead. Talk about this scene right here.
Which scene are we at? Right, David Blue, you're talking to, right? Because this is the best thing in the whole thing.
This was impossible to keep a straight face during. There's so many times that I broke listening to you in this scene.
And here's Mariah, who's in this scene right here. Hi, Mariah.
Hi, Mariah. Just in time.
Hi, everyone.
Well timed.
It's good to see you all. Yeah. I thought I'd keep myself off screen as a surprise, like it is in the movie. Surprise.
Love it. Well done.
You've gotten your hair cut since we filmed this. It looks nice.
Oh, thanks.
Look at it blowing in the breeze, though. It's so stylish.
Yeah, and our house makes a couple cameos in the movie.
Yeah, your house does make a couple. That's Scott's house. Is your house? That's right.
Scott's house, and then Zachy's house too.
That's right. That was the next. That's absolutely right.
It's so funny.
Yeah, your bed. Your bed makes the cameo at the very beginning.
Yeah. There it is. My bed.
See, I've known Mariah for a few years, but there's all these magical things you never learn about them until you go to a Film Threat watch party.
I know. I was like, Lauren's hosting. Cool. That's amazing.
Yes. So you got your Back to the Future street cred shirt on. Awesome.
Oh, y'all, this is not just a Back to the Future shirt. This is a Back to the Future Hello Kitty shirt.
Wow. What? Wait a minute. Show that again. I've got you on single.
Oh, nice.
What?
Love it.
Yeah.
Wow.
I
Love
love
it.
that she's
That is-
wearing the vest and everything.
Wow, that's very cool.
Well, did we lose her?
Well, where did she go? Oh wait,
Oh,
there she is.
Over here.
Somebody had watched this movie recently and was really upset that he couldn't find a Cave of Aloneness poster anywhere. He was like, "Where's your merch? I'd totally buy a Cave of Aloneness."
You have a lot of merch-worthy product in this, and you know it's all about the IP. We need a. Sam's already talking about a sequel, or was it a prequel? You can have both.
Moving
I love
on.
We're all signed over 3 pictures.
All side characters.
I'm wearing her vest. And one of the things that I love is this is what her name tag says. Mrs.
Aw.
Fanny Pack Guy. Because you shamelessly flirt with him.
Remember in this scene right here, in that scene, we were supposed to be right between them as they were talking, but Zachy and Talia kept moving, and so I would have to pop up on different angles just to get my head in because they weren't centered.
I love these bits with Blue wearing the popcorn hat. It's
Oh my God,
really
that's great. With the Batman voice, or the name that might be a Bat voice.
Did you guys shoot this in relative sequence, like me, or I don't remember, John? Did you shoot all of your stuff before you died, or did you shoot this? Was all this stuff shot at the end? The whole sequence with the drug trip gone wrong kind of stuff. I forget.
I think the this was. I feel like this was shot maybe towards the end of at least my 2 weeks on it.
Yeah.
So I think so. I know that David and I did our first you got to find your thing scene.
Right.
That was like one of the first days.
Wow.
Yeah.
The first scene.
I remember the first shot of the movie. I'll never forget is Cosby and Kelly in the movie theater where she holds his hand.
It was
where she grabs his hand.
the date. The date.
That was the very first shot?
of the movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was
thought-
the very first shot. And
I thought I was being pranked.
American and I were by the monitor together. I thought my face was going to split open. I was so happy. Like
Aw.
we couldn't believe this was happening, and I just looked at her and I was like, "It's happening!"
Yeah. It was despite
Yeah.
every single odd. We were there and it was happening and we couldn't believe it. It was
Well, it was what? It was 2.5 years from the reading until the first day of shooting, right?
It was a long time. I mean, Sam said the first reach out was 2010, and then we started filming in 2014.
13,
I believe it was
Yeah. Wow.
October 2013.
October, yeah. And then we finished filming October 2014,
Nailed it.
and then posts lasted 30 years.
Right.
And
It's still going on.
it's still happening. There's stuff I'd like to re-edit. And then getting the release and getting it done, and it's been a process.
Sorry, I just
Wow.
remember that scene. Like John walked towards the light, and you just had to awkwardly angle towards nothing. And I just remember, we're
Yes.
like, "Where are you going?"
I was like, I was the light. I'm going to the light. I had business. I had to do some business.
So good.
America, I still
One of my
remember-
dreams for Concessionaires Special Edition is when I say the "Search Your Feelings" line that I turn blue like the Blue Force Ghost, and it freaks out. That was always my. That was like, oh, if that ever gets re-edited, that's
When
I like it.
When I do my Lucas remaster, we
Yeah.
there. You go, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Just every 4
And
years,
just
release
replace
a new
me.
cut.
Yeah, just replace me with a CG character the entire time.
Any plans for a
Just give me some
Snyder
business.
4-hour
Give me a lot
cut?
of business.
Maybe
You can make a whole movie out of the
shows up
bloopers.
at the end for no reason.
we could make a whole movie out of the bloopers. Although I don't think anyone who are in those bloopers would like us to.
It'd be rated NC-17 for sure.
Yeah.
I like this part.
Describe the part just in case we're not exactly at the same part.
I was just seeing where they were about to write on David Blue's face, and he said, "I'm at." Let's see where I'm at. They're about to leave the movie theater, and everyone's arrived.
The one thing I love is that once the third act kind of kicks in, the movie just doesn't stop. Like it really just like barrels to the conclusion, which I really like. It really moves nicely.
And here we have our Kira wearing a Garrick shirt because she switched sides.
Yeah, she's a bad guy.
Flip collar.
Whatever she's wearing, it reflects who she's emulating that day.
And here we have like a month later, 5 in the morning, shooting at the other theater.
Yeah.
That was like sunrise, I think.
Yeah. Dan Laurier's asleep somewhere.
Yeah.
Poor guy. What a hero he was.
Oh God, yeah.
You know,
There's some really epic fight coordination coming up here. America's never worked with any more gifted athletes than she did.
How dare you, sir? You're right, but how dare you?
How dare you say something so accurate?
I have to give a lot of credit to the production team and to America, because so many of these things, because of the different locations and the way it was shot, you'd shoot one side and then like 5 decades later you'd shoot the other side, and you just like the piecing together, it looks seamless in the movie. It just looks like it was done on the same day.
That's good acting. That's good acting.
It is good acting.
Or good directing. Good directing.
Yeah, these are supposed to be across the street from each other, and it's Fresno was where the main theater was. Ventura was where this theater was. The comic book store was in Torrance. The vignettes were all in Studio City.
Mm-hmm.
Is that?
I totally forgot. Yeah, the comic book store is way down in Torrance.
Yeah, the comic book hideout. Yeah, they let us shoot.
Ace Hotel was downtown.
Ace Hotel was downtown. Yeah. We were all over the place, but in theory, it was all supposed to be within blocks of each other.
We had that week at Pinewood Studios, which was really fancy. Which was weird that they just gave us that for free for a week. But
It was so
Zacky's very persuasive.
Yeah, Zachy called Zachy.
I called every Pinewood studio.
We ended up at Pinewood Landscaping, which was weird.
Everything was moved out of Pinewood. It was a weird. Oh yeah.
Oh yes, that's right. And they're in Pasadena. Yeah.
Because the theater at the end becomes a theater comic book store, and that was in Pasadena. That's right. That's right.
I think Christina needs to write the movie Bible, because she seems to have all the insight.
Oh yeah.
She needs to do an oral history for Variety or whatever. So.
Yeah.
Christina's making it look like pop-up video on
Right?
VH1. You know, I actually watched the auditions before I auditioned because I came on so late, and one of the auditions I saw for RJ was one of my friends. His name is Dexter Darden, and I was guessing he didn't get it because he was too cool. So that's when I had to be nerdier. That's the only reason I'm in this film, is because of that. And he did okay, because after this, he ended up going and booking a 3-picture deal called Maze Runner. So he was okay. But,
he's doing all right for himself.
Yeah.
Oh, yes. Here we go. Good fighting here. Yep.
Just leave. They're just like, the calf slap is just, the confusion of it is the best.
Dan Lauria is so cool.
So cool. I mean, this was 4 in the morning, I think. I mean,
oh yeah.
I don't even remember. That late.
And there were so many bodies trying to keep track of coverage.
I remember I had one line in the scene, and I was so tired that I couldn't get it right. You did like, I couldn't actually get the line out because I was.
Oh, I don't remember that.
During that, it's the only time I ever left my phone on while shooting something, because My wife was due on the day. The baby ended up arriving, I think, 3 days afterwards. But I remember saying, like, I have to leave this on. If it ruins a take and I have to leave, I am so sorry, but I have to be there because a kid's being born. And thankfully, he came late like he does to everything else. So, all right.
I mean, that's one of the things, right? Of indie film, you're like, oh, your wife's due? Cool. Show up.
Just get here.
And
yeah, we'll work around it if we need to, but that's good.
Right?
Yeah.
I mean, you don't want anything bad to happen to anyone's kid, but at the same time, you're like, please.
But if he comes a little late, you know.
Okay, right?
You know, in the world of independent movie making, there is the Darren and Darren rule, like on Bewitched, how they swapped out Darren.
Right.
So you just replace one actor with another actor of the same name, and that's allowed.
There you go.
Where are you going to find a 5'9", blue-eyed, brown-haired guy
Look at the
LA?
scene
No.
of that theater. I mean,
yeah.
David, we would have just had to replace you with Matt Damon.
Right, yeah.
I was going to say clip art, but maybe not.
Yep.
Matt Damon wouldn't have been as good.
No, I don't think so.
So that was in Pasadena, not in the lobby of the theater.
Oh, really?
That
I
shot-
never knew that.
The shot of the comic books.
Yeah.
Oh.
That too. Pasadena.
Amazing.
That must have been so difficult to edit when you end up getting everything together. Like, we got to look this way and that way.
To be honest, I didn't even think that, like, when some of the stuff that we shot, the inserts and the fantasy sequences, I remember at the time being like, this is never going to work because you're just shooting like up against a tiny piece of wood and you're like, you're going to cut this into the movie. Okay. And it looks seamless. It's perfect.
Yeah.
We had a phenomenal editor, Scott Turner, but also we had 3 years. So
That helps.
we got to know the footage really, really well.
So, Mariah, was your process from audition and casting and shooting shorter because you were in that one scenelet, or was it kind of extended like with the other actors?
I wasn't on set with everyone else really, but I was involved with the live stream from like the audition because I know America and April and Zaki from like live streaming stuff we were doing before that. So I remember being at the auditions, and I don't know if I was reading for some people or just being nosy and filming everyone for the live stream. I don't know.
Yeah, Mariah's been helping us out, and you even helped us get some sponsors, right? Am I remembering that you were helping us? Yeah, you were helping us with other stuff also behind the scenes.
Yeah, I was
sorry,
trying
I'm
to
on
help
the
out with the
bloopers.
live stream and been like, oh.
Yeah.
I can't hold it together. I'm on the bloopers.
I nailed him in the groin. Directed by America Young. Yay.
David, do you remember when you were being really mean to me?
Yes, I do, and I still feel terrible about it. And I still want to know what "say it like a Viking" means, America.
You did it. You did it great. There, just to clarify, so that there's no misunderstanding. When David Blue was being mean to Cosby, it was a prank. The intention was supposed to be a prank, but Cosby took it so much to heart, and David's too good of an actor apparently, because Cosby took it so much to heart that David was like, "Never mind,
I
I'm
felt
kidding."
so bad.
Mission abort. Mission abort.
I was supposed to mess with him and be like, just kidding, but I messed with him and he was like a little puppy dog. Like, I felt so bad.
Yeah. David Blue is not a mean person to anyone. I want to make sure that is clear. It's taken out of context.
Was that George that just went across the screen?
That was George. Yeah.
Oh, I still have the bear. That bear costume. I should have been wearing it right now.
Do you really?
I do. You want it, Cosby?
I've seen that costume pop up in other stuff, like other shows and stuff. I'm like, I think it's the same costume we used in yeah.
Well, it's Robin Hood with the bear head, so it's not quite the same. Nobody else has exactly ours.
Yeah. Well, yes, true, exactly.
Yeah.
The long hair is a good look for you, Coop.
Thanks. I'm working
You should
on
go
it.
back to that. Yeah, I should go back to that.
Trying to get this dildo off.
That's strong section. Apparently that's a real person. Apparently that's molded off a real person.
Yeah.
Here's Chris Sheets biting the table for some reason.
Yeah. Yeah. And then- oh, this is where David was mean to your dad, America.
Right?
But then my dad didn't give him a high five, so it's okay.
What was it we were doing? I wanted to see that scene.
The which one?
Whenever he was doing the, because it was the don't drop that dun da dun. I think
Yeah.
whenever
Oh, yeah.
I never saw it.
I don't
Whenever
think I have it. I can send it to you. I don't know if you
Yeah, I
ever
wanna see it.
put it in the outtakes because I was afraid that it might be misconstrued.
Oh
Just me
right,
as a
right.
giant
It
Christian
was
Bale
great.
moment. These
Well,
bloopers are
Zachy,
so funny.
Zachy, you have to take off.
Yeah, I gotta go, you
so-
guys. I'm so sorry.
Thank you so
Bye,
much.
Zachy.
Yeah. Good seeing you, Zachy.
Love all your
Hi,
faces.
Zachy.
Love you.
Bye.
Thank you for
Bye.
joining us. Bye. All right, I'll take her off screen. I'm a fan of bloopers, and if I could just be a nerd about something, it's bloopers. So the more, the better. So I'm all about this 4-hour Snyder blooper reel.
Yep. We have so much.
We do. We do. Yes.
And I want John. I want to see it in 35 millimeter, and I want John to load that onto projector.
I will get right to work on learning how to do that.
It'll be wiped.
Someone in the chat, I think it was Jennifer. She was saying that you know, this movie needs to be released on VHS. You know, it is like a limited release on VHS.
100%.
That would be awesome.
Brilliant.
That would be awesome. Yeah.
Musicians are doing limited record presses now, right?
Right, exactly.
Are they? Wow. It should be a laser disc.
Marbled vinyl
That'll be-
is back. Cassettes are back. Waiting for the singles and CD singles to make their way back.
Singles.
So with
I would
with
hate it when you'd buy it and it would turn out to be a single and you thought it was the whole thing and you didn't realize you put it in.
Yeah.
That happened to anyone else? Just me? Great.
Did you notice it was a lot cheaper, or did you think you're just getting a good
Nope.
deal?
Did not. Just I'll make love to you over and over.
Because we live streamed, we had quite an amazing community of people who were with us through the entire thing. Stephen, who's been on here, is one of them, and Mal, who's over in England. And so a few of them made these fan posters that they would send
like that
over.
one of me.
Well, yeah,
That one's great. Yeah, that's the Wes Anderson poster.
that's the Wes Anderson poster. So that's a special thank you to our Nerfle tenders who were with us through the whole thing. That's what they call themselves.
And that's the wonderful, amazing, lovely thing about independent filmmaking is that you're doing it with friends, you become family, you've got fans who are behind you and are all just working with each other. So that's amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
By the skin of your teeth.
I'm down for a sequel. I'll read it, Sam, if you write it. I want to see that.
Yeah, it's
Oh,
kind
yeah.
of it's kind of weird what I was writing. Then kind of started predicting my life just a few days later. So it's because it got kind of dark. So
Oh,
kind of weird. Yeah, I have kind of an outline started. So maybe someday I'll do it.
That's
we
awesome.
need more.
Maybe tweak the outline so that you win the lottery.
There you go.
Yeah, wait a minute. Like, what is that John Candy movie, Delirious, where everything he writes turns true? Do it.
Oh, that's a good idea. More.
And if you throw
more
a
Fanny
90s, yeah, and if you throw a 1990s vibe into it, it's all the rage these days.
Sure.
Mom jeans all the way.
we could all get drugged like like David was in it, and we think we're in the 90s. So the whole
Time
movie can
travel
be set in the 90s.
concessionaires. Oh,
Oh.
Oh, I like it. I like it a
Amen.
lot. So the theater is closed,
Very-
and they take the drug, and they time travel back to when the theater was open and thriving at the peak of success.
Thriving.
Let's
and then the third movie is they have to go back to the second movie and stop themselves, like Back to the
But it's in the Old
Future.
West.
That's good. Yep.
It's in the Old West, and David plays all of
Wait.
the parts.
Well, if you do like a TNG All Good Things storyline, then one character goes back between the three
There you
different
go.
timelines.
Oh, there
I
you
like
go.
this.
Yeah.
And that should be Rose.
So we're just doing concessionaires forever. I'm down.
Yeah, that's
Forever.
That's the last film. That's the name of the last one. Yeah.
I would work with you guys forever. I would absolutely happily do that.
Yes.
Well, thank you guys. Before we go, I always love to have my filmmakers and cast share some of the things they're working on. So let me start with, at least on my screen, the top left, Sam McCoy. We know that you were working on a sequel. It got dark and you stopped. But what else are you working on? Can we see your work anywhere coming up or anything else?
Currently, I'm planning to get back more into the film and television industry, but currently have some family stuff I have to attend to. So I work with mental health at an art studio for people with developmental disabilities and mental health diagnoses. And so I do teach film and writing classes there, along with specializing in behaviors. And you can read my writings for the Pro Wrestling Torch, including John and I will be on a podcast for the PW Torch tomorrow
Nice.
that we're arranging. So
Yeah. Talking about
Oh,
Very,
I want
very
to
nice.
see that.
Thank you. That sounds cool. Let's go to Cooper. One of the things that I found in my research that you were safe cracking Sam at the Riverside Amusement Park.
450 years ago, there was a theme park in New England. It was my first entertainment job. And I remember even back then, my mom telling me, I was like 16, saying, you could never get a job in the shows at Riverside. So from the very beginning, my family was telling me.
Riverside. I remember Riverside.
It was like if your local county fair stopped and they put asphalt underneath it, that was Riverside. It was terrible. And
Wow, okay.
and I don't know if I've come much farther from being safe cracking Sam. Although I did just get approached about hosting a podcast about garbage. So we'll see if that. I wish I was making it up, but they were
What?
it's for a company that is a company that I have a family member who works for, and they are wanting to do some kind of community engagement for a podcast about garbage. So
Trash talk. Call it trash talk.
Wow.
that's a great
Nice.
idea. Blue for the win. All
Trash
right.
talking.
That might
Boom.
actually be kind of interesting. I mean, I feel like there's a lot of things you could talk about,
I mean,
right?
I found my audience, so here we go.
I mean,
There you go.
I'm in for it. I'm here.
Coming soon.
What is it about? Like going through strangers' trash and like making up stories about their lives?
Ooh.
I wish it were that interesting. It will. It's one of those corporate top down ideas where it's going to be, if it comes into fruition, it would be about community engagement and how to get people on board with different aspects of the commodities market behind upcycling and recycling and all the. You're just gonna have to tune in.
Are you in violation of an NDA right now? Should you stop?
Or are you doing
I
it?
mean, it hasn't even. It's literally been text messages, and then every now and again you get that email where it says, "No, really, I'm serious," and then you're like, oh, "Okay." You got to go back and look.
All right,
at
well-
that. I should have made that joke.
Thank you. So we're looking forward to the Safe Crackin' Sam podcast where he
Yeah,
talks about trash
There you
and
go.
amusement parks.
Put those on.
Next on my list over in the top right is John Keating. You still draw your webcomic?
No, I haven't done that in a couple of years. I was doing that for a while. Right now, I've been I teach an audition class, and I coach actors on auditions and such. So that I've been doing that on Zoom from the beginning of the. I've been doing it for almost a decade now, but I've been doing it on Zoom since the beginning of the lockdown, which has been pretty cool. And I think the last thing I booked was the last thing I was on an episode of Diary of a Future President on Disney Plus, which was really sweet, really nice. So now stuff is starting to kind of go back into production, and especially coming up. So it's just a lot of auditioning and getting out there again, you know.
Back on the grind.
Very cool.
Yeah, back on the
Awesome.
grind, exactly.
Yeah. David, you are a fellow stand-up comedy aficionado, so it was very cool to look up some of your background and the things you were in. You've gotten to perform with Dick Van Dyke and Victor Garber, is that right?
I did. Years ago, I did a really fun... I've done a lot of charity stuff, and we did a benefit for the Alzheimer's Association where we put on like a one-night concert performance of Bye Bye Birdie, and it was insane. We were directed by Jason Alexander. It was Vanessa Williams, Dick Van Dyke, Caroline Ray, Zach Levi, Kevin Chamber. It was just nuts. And as like a musical theater trained performer, I was losing my mind. It was just a blast for charity too, you know. It was a while ago.
Wow, that's awesome. What else are you working on these days?
Well, during the pandemic, I, for the first time ever, joined Twitch, which I stream on like 4 to 6 days a week now. DMing D&D games, have celebrity guests on weekends, and play games and stuff, which people can come and find me on. Like John, I teach and coach as well. I've also been writing and producing a lot, and hopefully you'll see some of that. And funny enough, I'm going back to set for the next few weeks on something that I can't quite talk about yet, but I will post about it on my socials when I can.
Very nice. And very nice. And thank you. We have another name for the. We're back to the trash podcast.
Nice.
Zero Waste Pack is the name.
You jealous?
Amber.
I think
Amber.
you'll have
I
an
like that. I like that, Amber.
Love it.
That's awesome. Let's go down to Cosby. What do you have coming up? We know you're getting you're engaged, so that's awesome. What else are you working on?
Yes, I am engaged. The wedding is actually at the end of the year, so that's a lot of work. I didn't realize it's a lot of work, but
it's a Broadway show.
Yeah, so I'm working on getting that done, but I'm also in the middle of writing a pilot that I've been asked to do, and it's just getting the time to finish it and complete it and then see what happens with it. And I cannot talk about what the pilot is because I don't want to get in trouble, but I am working on that right now. So yeah, those are my things.
Awesome. And Mirai, what I know you were in a show out here recently in LA. Are you still in that, or do you have something else coming up?
Oh, I was just cast in a production of Into the Woods with Conundrum Theater in Burbank, and it's going to be at a brewery, which is pretty cool.
Ooh.
I love that show.
Ooh.
I love
breweries.
breweries.
The concert version, so you don't have to like, and breweries are great. So I'm playing Florinda, one of the stepsisters.
Nice.
Yeah, and in this one,
that's
it sounds really
awesome.
cool. We haven't started rehearsals yet, but since there's some theater people out there, their concept is very adult, I would say, seeing as it's going to be in a brewery. And Milky White is a keg.
Oh my God, that's amazing. I guess this is goodbye, old pal.
Let's see. I'm excited. We start rehearsals on Monday. And then I'm also producing a New Works Festival at the Morgan Wixon Theater in Santa Monica.
Nice.
Wow.
To just get some like unknown writers on stage so we don't keep producing the same dead white men all the time. So that's what I'm working on.
Very, very nice. Just so you know, when you do show, and David might be able to talk about this, when you do comedy at a brewery, it oftentimes doesn't work out well when you have a drunk heckler. So just be ready for drunk hecklers singing off key Into the Woods songs.
I think Avenue
It's
Q
hard to
learned
tell
that
with
in Vegas.
Sondheim anyway.
I'll be one of them.
Mm.
And you can't get more off key than me. So
And then finally, America, who once starred as Laura Croft in a Tomb Raider stunt show, which I think is awesome. What do you have coming up next?
Well, first, I want to give a shout out to Jason Deibler, who is one of our brilliant producers, who just said that we were awesome and amazing in the chat, and you're awesome and amazing, and we love you.
We love you, man.
Second, the Tomb Raider stunt show was a blast. I was given prosthetics because he has different dimensions than I do.
And they're triangular.
Yeah. And they're painting and doing stunts in them. Look, and you can't see your feet. It's a whole other challenge. So put that out there, but I loved it. It was one of my favorite jobs of all time to this date. Coming up, I have a couple of episodes of television that I'll be directing. I leave in a couple of weeks for Roswell, and then I go to Legacies, and then I go to another show that I can't say which one it is, but it's one of my favorite shows of all time. So I'm really excited about that one.
What?
You know, the usual hustle and grind of trying to get movies made. And then I have been recording for Batgirl. I'm the voice of Batgirl in the new Gotham Knights game, and doing my Barbie records. So.
And
Shame you're
still
not
has
busy.
time to be a mom.
Raise your hand if you're trying to think what the show is she's not mentioning. Just
Oh
me?
yeah. Oh god.
Okay, yeah. We'll talk later.
You'll be getting
And
inundated.
I have to tell you, I'm surprised I got it because I fangirled so hard out on the interview that I thought that they would like file a restraining order on me. I was after them. It was after it. I was like, oh no, you have to be cool about this. You have to be cool about this stuff. But thankfully, they appreciated the fangirl because.
Yay.
I'm trying to think. Is it like a Nova
Yay.
on PBS?
Dateline.
I worked on Nova on PBS.
That's I had to mention. I know, Sam. I had to mention that. I nerded out when I read that. And lastly, America, you're the founder and the co-president of the Chimera Project, and I really wanted you to talk about that and let us know a little about that.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you. Shame on me. I should have said that. Thank you, Loren. You're a better person than I am. I'm one of the co-founders and co-president of the Chimera Project, which is championing women and non-binary filmmakers. And we do a bunch of different things. We do finishing funds. We do different workshops for different skill sets. Right now we're doing a mentorship program. Where you can apply for some pretty phenomenal mentors, like been composing Bear McCreary and Tosca Muss, and we just you have to check out the website because they're so phenomenal, and this is a really amazing opportunity. And the deadline is the 31st of July. So if you want to apply or share it with somebody that you know and love that you know would benefit from it, please do. I'll put the email.
Wonderful.
Awesome.
Well, thank you so much, everybody. If you want to stick around, the panelists stick around. I'm going to end the broadcast, but thank you, everyone,
Give it up for
for
Lauren.
coming to.
Thank
Thank
you,
you.
Lauren. That
Oh,
was
thank
great.
you.
Lauren.
Round of applause. Round of applause.
Thank you. Thank you for saying that before I ended the broadcast, because I'll totally take that. See, Mom, I'm good. Thank you, everybody, for watching
great,
the Film
Mom.
Threat Watch. The Film Threat Watch parties. We have more great parties coming up this month, so check that out, filmthreat.com. Thank you, Chris Gore, for allowing me to do this crazy thing. We're all coming to your house to hang out now and drink and watch the sequels of Concessionaires Must Die. Totally excited for that. So panelists, stick around. I'm going to end the broadcast. Thank you, everybody. Come back soon.
Bye, everybody.